In this video, we'll talk about how to create a UI component. So first, you want to ensure that you have imported the UI kit framework. Something to notice that everything in the UI kit starts with a prefix UI. So if you see something that has a UI, but you didn't import UI kit, you are probably missing something. To create an UI component, first we want to create a property, a sort of a reference to it. So we want to create an instant variable. Let's just name it welcome label, and it has a UI label type. UI label is the system built-in label type. Like it displays a label with a color. And as we mentioned, we want to create it using a closure, like so. Inside the closure, it is where we will actually create, initialize, and style the UI label, and then ultimately return it. First, we want to create our local version of this label. Notice that this LBL, this label, will not affect the namespace of this UI, this view controller that we created, because this label is only available in the scope of this closure. So here we can safely say UI label and call its initializer. And we want to specify its frame. You can sort of just speeding up over this right now because we're talking about frame in the next section. But we want to have the x coordinates and y coordinate like this. The default safe area is 88, and we can get the width of the screen using UI screen main singleton like this, and let's just say the height is 60 points. And after that, we can start to do start styling our label variable. The first thing we're going to do is the text. I've already have the copy here, so I don't have to type it. And then I will customize font. Let's make it an UI font, system font, f size 25 points, and then of weight. Let's just do it the old way first. Medium. And then we want to have the color. It's called text color. So something that's really nice is that you can, like sort of type out, like you don't know what the method is, the property name is, you can just sort of type it out vaguely, and the IDE will show that to you, and you can then autocomplete using either tab or your enter key. So I want to say text color equals to UI color, and let's make it dark gray. And finally, we want to say text alignment equals to NS text alignment center. And finally, we want to return the label that we just created and call this closure. So there's a couple of things to notice here. Like first, we created this local variable label. However, this label isn't available anywhere else. It's basically only gonna live inside this closure because closure is basically a function, an anonymous function that can be passed around, right? So it is important that you return this label and also call this function, because then the return value would then be used to initialize the welcome label, and then you'll be able to access it elsewhere. And another thing that I talked about is how you can use the abbreviation for something like this, because right now you might be thinking, oh wait, do I need to remember all of this type? The answer is you don't. So if you take a look at label.font, you see it only really takes a UI font type. And same thing for text color, it only takes a UI color, and for text alignment, it only takes NS text alignment, etc. So this information right here is actually redundant. Swift saying like, okay, actually you don't need to tell me this. I know where to look at this, look at these fields. So actually what you can do is to just get rid of this UI font and use this dot notation. I forgot what the official name was, but you can look it up if you want. You can use this dot notation to really just get the type that you are looking for. So for the same thing for this UI color, I can just say dot dark gray, and this one will be dot center. So if you want to expand it and to its original form, the only thing you need to look at is what type this left hand side is expecting. So this text alignment type, this text alignment variable is expecting that type. So you need to just like fill it out in the front, and that will be the original variable. But the nice thing is, like in general, you don't need to do that. You just need to type dot, and it will show you a bunch of options. You just need to select one. And after this, we have our welcome label created inside as an instance variable. So this thing will be created before view.load because this happens during the initialization of view controller, and view.load is actually happened after the view controller instance has been initialized. So here, what we're gonna do is to actually add it to the sub view, to the root view, because you can't actually do that in this closure. Because why? The self isn't available before initialization. You know, when you're initializing an instance, you know, the instance itself only becomes available after everything has been initialized. So self is only accessible in view.load. That's sort of the thing too. That's sort of the key takeaway here. So self, remember, if we have something like, you know, like if we want to reference self.view, we actually don't need to type self because there's no local variable called view that takes precedence over the instance variable, if you know what I'm saying. So if I have a local variable that says view equals something else, I won't be able to implicitly call self.view here. I will have to explicitly write out that self in order to get that self.view. But however, we don't have that view here, which is a nice thing because which is actually one of the reasons why we have this initialization here, because we don't pollute the namespace of our view.load function, right? So here we can just conveniently write view, which equals to self.view, and then view.add subview. This will add the welcome label to the root view of the UI view. And right now, if we run our app, we should see a UI label at 88 points from the top, which and has the screen width, and then the height is 60, and showing all of these customizations.